Alright, I'm going to do another tutorial here on installing another Lok Sound decoder in a DCC ready Kato AC4400. This one here was originally a UP unit, 5714, that I custom painted for the SP number 284. And I got to say, the SP and Rio Grande are probably their later version paint scheme's got to be the easiest to do, because they're all one shade of gray or black, and then the decals and a little bit of red to paint on the nose here on the SP units. But anyway, this one has just a regular Digitrax decoder in it, and I want to do the Lok Sound because I really like the sound of the GE units, and I also want to have this one with operating ditch lights. And I've never really kind of gone into detail with my last. I've done a few. I've done Norfolk Southern ACE, Norfolk Southern Heritage unit, which is actually a Fox Valley model for the Norfolk and Western, and then I've done a CSX Zevo with dish lights. And so I will kind of show you cutting the light pipes, attaching the LEDs, and again, I'm not a professional. I've installed, I don't know, 20 or 30 of these sound decoders now, so I'm starting a little better. Well, the whole idea of this video is for you to get some ideas yourself in figuring this out, kind of show you my technique, what I've been doing as far as the installation, adding the extra lights, and then speaker installation. So the one nice thing with the GE units is that with the big radiator, you can often do a little fabricating and put in one of the ESU sugar cube speakers. These are like, I think they're 11 by 15 millimeter. They're a little wide. They're really hard to put in a EMD unit. So what I've been doing in place of those for my EMDs is the TCS makes a pretty nice speaker. They're a WOW speaker. It's a 16 by 9 millimeter, and those work great on the EMD units. They're a little narrower, so you can fit them in there, and you can go into your adjustments when you're programming and get plenty of good sound. I think the sound is just as good as the ESU Sugar Cube speakers. So I will show you here. I've got 4 other models I've pulled out to show you from the with them up and running what it looks like. Okay, here's our Norfolk Southern Heritage unit. This is a Fox Valley model, and I have set F5 as the ditch lights. There they on there. I've also programmed it for them to flash, I think, about 5 or 6 seconds when I honk the horn. Of course, the bell's hanging there for about 3 seconds, and then it stops. F6, I got it just flashing non-stop. So these ones came out okay. They're not super bright like the headlight above, and it was a pain to put this all back together with those extra wires in there for the ditch lights. So that is the Norfolk Southern Heritage unit, and then also I will show you I'm gonna go a little wider here. The nice thing with the Fox Valley is when you pull the radiator off, they have a huge opening here, and you can see, if I bring it closer here, I got the Sugar Cube speaker in there. So no major modifications with Zacto blade to kind of open that up. Plenty of room to put the full-size speaker, and then you can see I've got the LED just beyond it there. So that's the installation. That part was easy there, doing the ditch lights, and had to do a little machining on the frame because, again, it's Fox Valley, it's not a Kato. So there's a little bit of machining and some filing to do to get that to fit on there. Okay, next is the BNSF unit here, 5624. I've had this loco for a while, and this one has, I don't know what it has for a speaker. Let me look here. Okay, this also has a sugar cube. I will show you here in a minute how I fabricated it. This is a Kato unit. No flashing ditch lights on it because it obviously, BNSF didn't have those. So, but got the one light on there. Alright, we'll shut down the motor here, and I will show you now on the Kato, the Dash 9s, the AC4400s. The radiator on those also pop off too, like the Fox Valley, but there's a pretty much solid piece of plastic there, a couple little notches for the radiator to clip in. I just took a X-Acto blade and just kind of opened it up a little bit there, kind of made a little bit of a pyramid shape, and then I had to do a little filing on the speaker. They call it the baffle, I think it is there, that glues on to the face of the speaker. Kind of had to angle it there like 45 degree to make it fit in there nice and snug so I can put the radiator on there. So anyway, this is another workhorse. It's a little beat up. Handrails up here on the corner popped apart. So anyway, that's my BN unit there. Okay, next is Norfolk Southern 1009. I think this is the first one I attempted ditch lights on, and it's a Kato unit, and this one came out perfect. You can see the ditch lights are nice and bright. We'll fire her up here, and yeah, this one came out flawless. I didn't have any light leakage inside the nose there like I had on my CSX unit and another SP unit, but we'll honk the horn. So got him flashing there for 5 or 6 seconds, I think it is. F5 I have to turn them off or on, and then F6 again, just non-stop flashing back and forth. So that's how I've been tweaking the settings on it. And of course our headlight is separate. I can keep them flashing there if I want to. So anyway, yeah, this one came out really nice. I used, this is the speaker on here is one of those TCS wow speakers. Fit in there nice and easy on the EMD unit here. So that's the Norfolk Southern 1009. Okay, this is the last one I've worked on, the most recent. This is another Kato C30-7 for the Santa Fe, number 8052. I've had this loco for, I think, a couple of years. It's been mostly in the box. It's pretty clean. I haven't done any weathering on it. And since it's an older GE, I love the sound of the GEs. I put one in here. The radiator does not come off the back like the Gevos and the Dash 9s and the C44s. So I had to use this TCS speaker, which fit in there nice. I had to do a little machine work. There's quite a bit of material on the frame here in the back. So I just used my Dremel tool that I have in like a Dremel press and just shaved off, I don't know, 5 millimeters, something like that, and enough to fit the speaker in there. And this one, I also wired up a beacon light, and it's not prototypical, but it's these little miniature LEDs that I see at my hobby store. And see if I can figure out which. There we go. So F5 turns on the beacon light there, and this one sounds pretty cool for an old GE unit. If you notice, the headlight is really yellow. At least it is with my eyes. For some reason, Kato was running these like kind of yellow tinted light pipes, and so if you run a warm LED on there, they really come out yellow. I actually have some white, cool white LEDs in the mail, so when they come in, I'm going to swap that out on this decoder, and hopefully get that headlight a little more, not so yellow, and make it look a little more prototypical. So, and it's that way with my Heritage units. I've got all 6 of the UP Heritage units, and they all have those yellow, they're kind of a yellowish orange plastic for the light pipe, so the headlights all look really yellow unless you're running kind of a really blue, kind of a bluish tint, you know, cool LED, kind of correct the color there. So anyway, there's our GE C30-7 with rotating beacon there. And then I also, the black around it, that's just a little piece of heat shrink tubing that I just cut a ring and just kind of brought the soldering iron close to, so it kind of shrink around and kind of hide the base there. So if you want to add a beacon light like that, just more something else to stare at as it's going by, there's that option too. So I have the shell off the frame here, radiator off. So this is what the shell looks like with the radiator off. You can see it's kind of like blocked off. So we're gonna cut out a little slot there so I can fit this speaker in there. Here's my Digitrax decoder. I added a secondary LED because the one that's the stock one that's on there, they're real small. They don't put out a whole lot of light, and so I put this extra one on here for the F1 function, just to get a little more light to light up the headlight and the light in the ditch lights. So we'll pull this apart here and start getting the decoder set in place, and then go to the shell here, and inside the shell is the light pipes there, which we're going to have to separate the headlight from the ditch lights, and then hook up our micro LEDs on there, and then solder them to the new decoder so we have flashing ditch lights. So I'm going to go ahead and glue the flush baffle to the speaker here to just keep this thing as narrow and flat as possible. I'm going to use some super glue, and then we'll let that dry, and then I'm going to pencil, or with a pen, kind of mark out in between the slots here the hole that I'm going to cut through, and I'll probably use my Dremel tool to kind of carve out, and then we'll clean it up with the X-Acto blade, and that way we can set our speaker inside there nice and flat, and then so we can put the radiator on top and everything all nice and tight. Okay, so I took a Sharpie and kind of shaded where we're going to trim the top here so we can fit the speaker. So I'm going to take it to the Dremel, cut that out, trim it up with the X-Acto blade. Okay, here we have our hole notched out, and set it down here on the table here. And so I also filed down on the speaker here a little bit of a edge 45-degree angle here. I don't know if you can see it, so that when it sets in place here, it's just about flush like so, and then we should be able to put the radiator on top here, snap it into place there, and be nice and flush. Whoops. Like that, okay? There's a speaker on the inside there. That's kind of how it'll be placed once we get the decoder all wired up and everything. Alright, so that should take care of the body work there on the back. And next step is getting the decoder in, which I've already got it kind of in place here on the frame. Get it in the view here. And so I need to get the LEDs soldered on there, and the light pipes. Need to cut those, so that will be the next step here with the light pipes inside the shell here for the ditch lights. These are the micro LEDs that I've used for ditch lights. They're real small. I've got a pencil there for scale to show you how big they are. So my plan is to take some heat shrinkable tubing and use that kind of as a plug to not only keep the light from leaking out into the nose and possibly traveling through the cab or even the nose light piping, but also to act as a receptacle, kind of plug into the ditch lights where I trim them. And but I do have some LEDs that are a little bit bigger, a little bit brighter than I might try instead. So these I've already had them prepped on another project that I didn't end up using. So as you can see, they're kind of in series right now. I've just got them hooked up to a 3-volt battery to see the how they look here lit up. So debating that. I'll let you know here shortly what my decision is. So I decided to go with the little bit bigger LEDs, and I've got, here's the ones I was showing earlier, the real tiny ones here. Here's the ones I'm going to use. I've already cut the heat shrink tubing, and one of them is in there. As you can see, I should be able to slide that in where the light pipe is. I've already trimmed it. Let's see if we can take a closer look at it here. Get a little light out here a little bit. I got enough light. It'd be kind of hard to see in there. Anyway, I trimmed back the light, or the light pipes there. So I should hopefully, with some tweezers, be able to slip in that piece of heat shrink tubing inside there, and then the light from the LED will pass through. So we'll start working on that. Alright, so this little light test here, I got the LEDs with the heat shrink tubing inserted into the light pipes, and there's our result. I'm just doing a little 3-volt battery test here, and they're nice and bright. So as long as they stay in place there, I'll get them soldered up on the board, and we should have some nice bright headlights or ditch lights there. I still need to do the headlamp, so I'll go ahead and unplug this here and kind of let you look what it looks like inside. So there's the you see the heat shrinkable tubing there, and then like I said, it's kind of like a socket, just kind of plugs into the light pipe there. A little tricky to get in there, but I used tweezers. When I did the shrinking with the soldering iron, it was a little too tight, but kind of wanted it tight. As long as I get it in there, that'll hold it in place a little better. But I'm happy with the outcome of the as much how bright they are. A lot better than that Norfolk Western unit. So anyway, all right, we're going to carry on to the next step. All right, I got the LEDs soldered on the decoder for the rear and front headlight. Then I got the motor, copper tabs on there. I'm gonna route the rear headlight down below, since I'm gonna plan to have the speaker up on top and have accessibility to the speaker through the shell. And then I went ahead and lubricated the gears here, and then put some Captain tape over the end here to insulate, and just in case that the leads for that LED were to touch the frame, which we don't want to have happen. So we're now just about ready to put the decoder on there and then start wiring up the ditch lights to the auxiliary tabs. And those are very, very small. They're over here on the rear. And ESU supplies some very good paperwork with the placement of where everything is, and so you know which one to solder to. And we'll probably be using auxiliary 4 and 5, and then I will be getting my positive off of the rear headlamp terminal here, the positive. That'll be our voltage there. So that's the next step. Okay, everything is all wired up here. Got the speaker attached to the speaker cables. Got the wires soldered for the ditch lights for auxiliary 4 and 5. Decoders in place. I think the next step is to throw it on the programmer and get it programmed, and then we'll do a test fire here. And my programmer, I just found a cheap little generic plastic cutting board at the store, and just screwed it in, and then found some old track and put that on there, and just soldered the wires on there, and then right now it's just hooked up to my laptop. So that's my setup there. Kind of makes things all kind of in one piece. So that'll be next step. We'll get this thing programmed, and we'll fire it up and see if we get some sound. Alright, so we got everything all put back together here. Got it programmed. I went on the ESU website and downloaded the file for GE 16 cylinder 7 FDL 16 AE late exhaust file, which their article number is SO728. They've got like two others that are for dash 9s and C44s and dash 8s, and so I chose this file here. I went through and programmed auxiliary 4 and 5 for the ditch lights, and let's give it a little sound check here and take a listen and see the lights here, what we got going on. Now, I don't know if it's visible, but the nose light is very dim. I have the stock LED lit up on the board, but we'll turn on the regular headlight here. And I have F5 programmed for the ditch lights. There they are there, and then I've got it programmed when I hit the horn. We got bells and ditch lights flashing back and forth for about 5 seconds or so, I think it is, before they go back to steady. And then F6 I programmed for them to just keep flashing if I want to run that mode there. And then of course we go in reverse. Our headlight goes dim, but the nose light or tail light lights up. There's that compressor kicking in. Also have the dimmer set up, F12 for this headlight. So there she is. I'm really happy with those LEDs for the ditch lights. They're really bright. In fact, I think I'm going to pull my Norfolk Western one here apart and fix that, make those a lot brighter. These ones look really nice. I like that mode of using the heat shrinkable tubing around the little bit bigger micro LEDs, and then kind of using them as plugs into the light pipes. So anyway, that's kind of a little tutorial here. If you got any questions or comments, feel free to put those here down below, and hopefully this gives you guys some ideas if you're modeling your own. Just kind of sharing what I did to get mine going here. So anyway, thanks for watching.